surgical hospital. But in Vietnam, you always usually had a medic with you. Most of the time they were male because the ladies were at your major hospitals. 45th Surgical. This lady here would have probably been at a place like 45th Surgical, major hospital in other words. This would be typical. It was more of a blood and gut, put them back together type stuff. I'll have to hand it to them. They work miracles, putting people back together. They didn't have the technology in Vietnam that we have now. Nowadays they have bandages that you could stick in a hole. Over there we stuck mud in a hole. We did anything to stop the bleeding. And those ladies that were in the surgery, and you had men doctors, but most of your field doctors were men, just like me. That I was not a medic. I was infantry. But these guys and ladies, I don't know how they did it. But basically, in major hospitals, or there were ladies that had military jobs, secretaries, and lawyers, and doctors, and dentists, and all that. But they were not in your basic combat zones, even though Vietnam combat zones. Saigon eventually got hit. Some of your major cities eventually got hit during the 10 offensive, 68. But you have to understand it takes 7 people to keep 1 soldier on the field here. Most of your ladies were in that area, nurses. How were they treated? You love to see that. Well, most of your ladies, non-combatant, but in the field hospital, you do what you have to do. So whether ladies, and there were some ladies that were actually killed in Vietnam for my mom. And as far as females, my mom was very faithful to write me a letter and read my mail before I ever got it. And my mom was faithful to send us cookies. But most of your field hospitals now at Dao Tiang, there was just 4 or 5 big old tents, and that was your field. You know, guys get cut, you go over and get stitched up, basic stuff there, just like going to a local doctor here. The hospitals didn't have all, I mean, you have to understand you're in the middle of a jungle, sometime 130-degree temperature in part of the country. So whatever our government could furnish or maintain in that area, we had. For your life, you're just like the next guy. But I just never was, the filth that we had to live in, it's just devastating. We actually were outnumbered most of the time 10-to-1 odds. But praise the Lord for the helicopters and these big old jets. I don't see a couple of them, but this aircraft that you saw outside, they kept us alive. Survived Vietnam, and I'm gonna be real truthful with you. The war is never over, okay? Messes your mind up, and you never get over things you have to do. Television and Hollywood kind of glorify the wars. And that's wrong. The biggest problem I had when I came home was getting used to the quiet. You know, war is a horrible thing, and just different aspects of it. You have to understand your mind is a tape recorder, and everything that you've done all your life. If you stop and think back, you can think back to you did things when you was a child, right? Okay. The war is the same way. It came home with us, and there's no way to get rid of it. Okay. So through counseling, my men, okay. So your mind's still there, and your primitive mind's in Newt, and your noble mind's in hey, you're a homeboy. So these are things you have to deal with, and all veterans have to deal with it. And these ladies, what these ladies dealt with is mind-boggling. How they dealt with, I mean, a lot of these guys were blown beyond imagination, and they talked to them and held their hand until they died, you see. And we've neglected to take care of our nurses properly. I know several nurses, and I met one here. She would have been here today, Donna, very sweet lady. She's got severe PTSD. But she was blood and gut all the time. That's all she saw for whatever her tour was. So it's tough being on both sides of the fence.